Top 10 Best Shooters and Action Games of 2023. Fans of shooters and action have never suffered from a lack of worthy representatives of the genre. 2023 was no exception, during which many cool and simply good games were released for fans of spectacular shootouts and spectacular fights. We have collected for you the 10 best shooters and action games of the past year. Atomic Heart, the creation of the Mundfish team, can be safely called the most pleasant discovery of 2023. The young studio managed to make its own version of BioShock from the first time, only in the setting of an alternative and technologically advanced USSR. The game is addictive from the first minute, and after a cool introduction, you don't want to leave this world at all. The success of the project lies not only in the unique style and overall atmosphere, but also in the exciting gameplay. In the role of Major Nechayev, the gamer needs to explore the locations, stop the robot rebellion, and uncover the secrets of a great country. It's fun to shoot here, and a variety of opponents surprise with their design. Even the samples of weapons look brutal and textured. Intense battles are diluted with puzzles, humor, and a wonderful soundtrack. Next up is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Fallen Order, released in 2019, was a good game, but the sequel turned out to be bigger and more elaborate in all respects. Survivor has huge and spacious locations, a variety of side quests, hidden areas, new abilities, character customization, and lightsabers. The combat system has been expanded with additional racks, each of which, although versatile, is effective in certain situations. Cal Kestis can also arm himself with a long sword with a guard, a sword, and a blaster, or two swords. Well, in addition to standard techniques, the hero is able to manipulate the Force and take control of the mind of opponents. All this made the battles deeper and more spectacular. Thanks to this, Survivor conveys the spirit of Star Wars better than the latest film adaptations. Resident Evil for Remake. Capcom continues its tradition of releasing high-quality remakes of Resident Evil games. Now the turn to rethink has reached the iconic fourth part. The authors have done a huge amount of work, having managed to emphasize the advantages of the original, and at the same time updating outdated elements. The plot has become darker, and the characters now look like characters rather than walking functions. But most importantly, in the remake, the developers brought the battle to the ideal. Leon now has to constantly move and plan his actions in advance, since a simple frontal attack rarely leads to victory. The enemies not only crush with numbers, but also throw bombs and set traps. Each battle turns out to be intense and special, which is why Resident Evil 4 turns from horror into a dynamic action game. Dead Island 2, the sequel to Dead Island, took a painfully long time to get to release. Production was cancelled several times and changed hands until Dambuster Studios brought the matter to an end. The project turned out to be far from perfect. There is a cliched plot, weak side activities, and the open world is represented by compact locations. But despite all this, passing Dead Island 2 is still fun. The developers did not complicate anything and presented a strong action game where you need to fight crowds of zombies. To do this, the authors have added many types of weapons, an updated and more brutal combat system, and realistic dismemberment of enemies. This is a great game to turn off your head in the evening after work and just enjoy the meditative destruction of the living dead. In the atmosphere of Los Angeles. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Do you want spectacular and dynamic fights on giant robots? Then you should definitely try out one of the most spectacular action games of the year by From Software. According to the precepts of the Soul series, the battles in Armored Core 6 turned out to be difficult, where success depends not only on personal skill, but also on the right equipment and the chosen tactics for a specific opponent. During the missions, the player will have to control the mechs, which, despite their size, are very agile. Thanks to jet engines, they can fly gigantic distances, shoot missiles, and use laser blades. Each level on the planet Rubicon 3 is a small location where you need to destroy everyone. The main thing is not to get carried away with the attack, so as not to miss a sudden blow. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. At the moment, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man game. The sequel surpasses the original 2018 in all respects. New York has become even bigger. Flights on the web have been diversified with web wings. The plot keeps in suspense until the very finale. And Kraven the Hunter turned out to be a gorgeous fatalist villain. The complex combat system is also impressive, thanks to which fights even with ordinary opponents have become more difficult and spectacular. The arsenal of Peter Parker and Miles Morales has been replenished with new tricks such as parrying and spider rope. In addition, the developers were able to maintain a balance between epic action scenes and calm episodes that allow players to rethink what happened. Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun. The developers of Boltgun ignored the achievements of the industry and gave out one of the best retro shooters of our days. Like any boomer shooter, this iteration of Warhammer 40,000 is created in the tradition of Doom and Quake. Health and armor points, boosters, secrets, colorful gate keys, platforming, crowds of enemies in arenas, statistics at the end of each level. All these elements are well known to fans of classics. But most importantly, during the passage of Boltgun, there is no time to be bored. Various opponents are pressing in from all sides. The difficulty level is gradually increasing, and aggressive music motivates the hero to rush only forward. Local battles allow you to feel like a Space Marine in heavy armor and a powerful cannon in your hands. And what else do fans of the Warhammer 40,000 universe need? Trepping 2, a small team of Trepping Studios, was inspired by the cult FEAR and put together their own horror shooter. The game stands out for its uncomplicated but well-developed gameplay. The main feature of the project was the powerful artificial intelligence of the enemy, thanks to which enemies counterattack, prepare ambushes, and use different tactics. An excellent combat system combines chic firefights, melee, and acrobatic stunts. The main character is able to slow down time, can become invisible, and sneak up on opponents in stealth mode. Although all levels are visually different, they perform exactly one function, namely, they act as arenas for shootouts. It turned out great, considering the modest capabilities of the studio. RoboCop Rogue City. It seems that Teon Studio has found its niche in creating an expensive but atmospheric and soulful projects based on cult films of the past. First, they released Terminator Resistance, which was warmly received by fans. And this year they got to the no less legendary RoboCop. As a result, the polls got a game from fans for fans, where every element of old Detroit conveys the spirit of the original source. Gameplay RoboCop Rogue City is a standard linear shooter where you need to do the usual police business, namely shoot out with bandits and conduct investigations. The main feature of the gameplay lies in the hero, which feels like a real tank on its feet. He is very slow, withstands a lot of shots, and methodically deals with a variety of enemies. A lot of unique situations and episodes are constantly being built around shootings, additionally decorated with good old-fashioned ultraviolence and funny physics. This is the best thing that has happened to the franchise in many years. Dead Space Remake is a completely redesigned version of Dead Space 2008, which received a new engine, modern graphics, updated cutscenes, a number of adjustments in the plot, and all additional content, full of misadventures, violence, and dismemberment. Dead Space tells the story of survival in the cramped spaces of a ghost ship that sent a distress signal from deep space. The main character Isaac Clarke volunteered for the rescue team out of fear of losing his beloved, who remained on the ill-fated ship. The spaceship, as if revived, resists any attempts to leave it. He is captured by necromorphs, dynamically changing the shape of zombies, which can only be defeated by shooting off their limbs, which is more difficult than it seems when only engineering equipment is available. Remnant 2. In this shooter, the main character embarks on an adventure through various terrifying worlds and fights demons, to get to the most difficult bosses. Traveling is possible both alone and with friends in a cooperative. The game has a large number of tasks, different equipment that can be pumped, and randomly generated worlds. A great adventure on the new Unreal Engine 5 game engine. System Shock Remake is a fan-made remake of the legendary 1994 System Shock role-playing shooter. The game takes place in the year 2072, where all the resources on Earth have almost been depleted. One of the corporations is building orbital stations for mining on other planets. But at one of the running stations, artificial intelligence goes crazy and turns all the staff into hostile mutants. The player in the role of a hacker will have to fight against hostile AI, fighting both in reality and in cyberspace. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. For almost 3 years, CD Projekt Red has been bringing Cyberpunk 2077 to mind. And now it's safe to say that with the release of the Phantom Liberty add-on, the polishing process is complete. The developers just took the best of the original, added a lot of new chips, and based on them, they rebuilt almost the entire gameplay. It turned out to be a powerful spy thriller with unexpected twists, the events of which unfold in a new location. Certain mechanics have been changed in the DLC. A new ending has been added, as well as more than 100 types of weapons, gadgets, and vehicles. The staging, the level design, the study of the environment, and the combat system with updated talents and leveling are on top. Due to this, VI is much more likely to encounter a variety of interesting situations. That's it. Write your own versions of action shooter games. It will be interesting to read. Thanks for watching until the next video. Bye!